Bit, this is a bit kind of strange. It feels like the pandemic again because I haven't done a session like this for a couple of years now. But I've even forgotten how to use Zoom. But let's see how it goes. So thank you for inviting me to do this beautiful thing. Um, I want to take you on a journey through the brain of a jazz musician. Now I said that in the blurb for the event, but actually there's three of us here, so you're going to get a journey through three brains. I hope that's not going to be too messy. I don't know if you guys know what's happening in your brains, but all will be revealed. Let me introduce you to my team this morning. So, well, first of all, I'm Alex Steele. I do know some of you. Amy, it's great to see you again. I haven't seen you for so long. And Hugh, of course. I remember the last time I saw you, Hugh, there was something interesting on the television, which we won't talk about, to do with Donald Trump, and I was playing your piano. That was a long time ago. Anyway, welcome. I'm Alex Steele. For those that don't know me, I am a man with two lives. I'm an organizational development consultant, executive coach, and academic by day. And by night, I'm a professional jazz pianist. And normally these lives are quite separate, but on special occasions, and this is one of them, I bring my two worlds together. And my reason is my passion for exploring what's happening inside the human mind, that we learn from jazz musicians and improvisation and apply to teams and organizations. So that's me. And also welcome to my little man cave in the bottom of my garden in Cheltenham. That's where I am today. Please also welcome on the saxophone today, you can give him a round of applause, Ollie Weston, amazing saxophonist, who I just heard is it playing in a show in London called Tarantino Live, playing all the music from the Tarantino films. It's only on for how long? Another couple of weeks? 2 more weeks. I'm going to go because I love Tarantino and all that music. It's great. Also welcome the amazing double bass player, Mr. Mike Green. By the way, jazz musicians are never awake at this time of day. So, in fact, they haven't been to bed and it's still yesterday. I should just tell you. That's what's happening here. I'd also like to welcome you to a special guest. And perhaps you could just stand up for a moment. I'd like to welcome you to Doreen, the Disruptor. If you just come this way a bit. Doreen's my neighbour from over the road. She knows everything that happens in this part of Cheltenham. She's like the boss. And she's also good at baking cakes and biscuits. And in the real pandemic, she used to come over with cakes and biscuits for me all the time. But you don't know why Doreen's here, and I'll introduce Doreen back to you in a moment. So take your seat again. But she's the disruptor. That's all I'm going to call her so far. Doreen the Disruptor. Right. So I want to take you on this journey through the brains of jazz musicians. And for those that are interested, there is research that's been undertaken by a neurosurgeon and neuroscientist called, he's well online these days with his talks, and he found out that certain parts of the brain close down when you're improvising. That's your lateral prefrontal cortex. It all goes closes down, whereas when you're improvising, your medial prefrontal cortex activates and goes whoa. So the first one, which closes down, is about self-monitoring, whereas the area which activates is about self-expression and getting into the zone and being in flow. But I'm not going to talk to you about the technical side of that, because I want you to feel what happens in improvisation in a different innovation, organizational flow.
Alex, I think you might have frozen, or is that just me?
Alex, I think the sound went wrong for just a minute there. So could you check your internet, please, Alex?
Oh, am I back?
You are back, but something significant happened, and I think we lost your internet for a while. So first it went silent, and then we didn't have you at all.
I do apologise. That's never happened before. I've got super.
No, I'm glad you're back. It wouldn't be the same without you.
I know. Anyway, I don't know what you heard me say last, but basically we're going to take a journey through the brains of these amazing people. Right. So what I'd like to do is welcome you here with a song, because come on, there's three jazz musicians in this space. It's time for a song. All I'm going to say to you is that think of jazz as a language. So when we begin to play a song in a moment, and I haven't told them what it is yet, are you waiting for me to tell you? This is so exciting. Now, I'm going to pick a song that that everybody knows that isn't even jazz, because jazz is typically we typically take the structure of a piece of music and then we improvise around it. And I would say that 95% of what you hear is improvised and 5% is the structure. So I'm going to pick a song you all know well. I was going to pick a Beatles song, Let It Be. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, it's not a jazz song, but you know it, so you'll hear the 5%. And I want you simply just to enjoy the music. I hope we can hear it okay as well. But be mindful as you're listening to this first piece of music about what's really happening, because we're improvising. Jazz is a language with its own vocabulary and its own grammar. So we're having a conversation, and if you're interested in leadership, who's leading and who's following, and so on. So that's what I'm going to say. Are you ready for this? Are you all ready for a first piece of music? Okay, let's try that. I hope the internet stays on. Dorian, you're not involved yet. You'll be involved in 5 minutes. Okay, let's do it. So welcome. go. Could you hear that okay? Good, that's good. And we stayed on. So it's interesting.
Your bass colleague was just a little quieter. That would be the only thing I would just say.
Okay, that's good. I'll keep the mic next to you. He's got a special little amplifier, so we'll turn him up. So listen, that's great. So that's our welcome. Just to say that it's interesting that because we haven't had a rehearsal. I didn't tell the guys we were going to do that, and so what happened there was a unique thing. You know, it happens once and it can never happen again. In fact, I'm pleased to tell you, you just experienced a world premiere of that song. See, it's never happened before. Yeah. Now, because we're short of time, I'm not going to ask you any particular questions yet, but I'm going to get you involved. But I mean, you can just be mindful of what happened there. Like, who was leading? Well, we all had moments of leading, didn't we? And but what I want to do is immerse you a little bit more deeply in the next experiments. Let's call them experiments. So that was the first experiment. That was easy for you, wasn't it? You didn't have to do anything. In this second experiment, where I will get some discussion with you, I want to talk about how we engage as jazz musicians with the unexpected. And I want you to think about two scenarios that you could face in the real world. One is novelty. How do you react to new ideas? Not just like boring new, but crazy, radical, new, novel ideas. Okay, because that happens to us all the time. And if we want to move forward as a society or in our organisations, we have to be open to being creative and innovative and taking risks. So, scenario one: how do you respond to novelty? And scenario two: how do you respond when things go wrong? Because now, here's a little confession from the three of us. Sometimes things do go wrong. So I want to explore what's happening in. Well, you know, I said it's about a journey through the brain. It's not just that we're doing here. It's about the head and the heart, I think. So we're talking about human connection. We're talking about listening. We're talking about empathy and all these kinds of things as well. So it's about emotional intelligence as well as cognitive processes. So I think what we are pretty good at when we do our thing is that if you were to say, if I was to ask you, how do we do what we do? I think we're really good at sensing each other in this conversation that we have. We're fully present and in the moment. And our mission, if you like, is simply to find beauty in the combinations of notes and rhythms that we have. Beauty and value. That's our mission. What a great mission that is to have. And so if something is unexpected, or even if something goes wrong, we're quite clear in the chaos and the mess. We're just looking for the beautiful things in our communication with each other and with you. But the key thing I want to explore on this particular second piece of music and an interaction is the idea that to do what we do, we have to be good at not judging. Because I think we're all good at judging. We're all good at saying, this is right, this is wrong. And actually in jazz, when stuff happens, the key to success is not to judge. And I think that the same applies in life. And I'm going to tell you a quick story, and then I'm going to play you a quick piece of music. And it's a true story about Herbie Hancock, the American jazz pianist. And he wrote his autobiography a few years ago. Herbie Hancock is still a legend. He's 84 years old. Is he? No, 83 years old this year, and still playing all the festivals. And he recounts this story of when he did one of his early concerts, probably in the 1950s, when he was in his 20s. Was he in his 20s? Or maybe the 1960s, with Miles Davis, the trumpet player. And he was all excited, and there was an audience of more than 1,000 people there. One of his first big gigs with Miles. And Herbie played the first chord like this on the piano, and he kind of was so excited that he missed, and he played a lot of wrong notes in that moment. And this is during the piece of music, and jazz musicians will not stop. Okay, so it's like bah! And so what happened in that moment is that Miles Davis, with his trumpet in his hand, turned round looking at Herbie, and he played all the wrong notes back to Herbie for the trumpet. And so what was happening in that moment was that Miles Davis was redesigning this piece of music using the wrong notes. They are now no longer wrong, are they? They are simply unexpected, and the redesign again is finding the beauty and the value in the unexpected. And Herbie Hancock reflected on this, and he said in his autobiography, it took him a long time to realize, how did it work? It worked because Miles Davis didn't judge. And I want to explore this idea with you now of the importance of not judging too quickly, I should say. I think it's okay to judge, but I think we're all a little bit guilty of judging too quickly. So, some of you will have heard this before, particularly in the world of improv, but linguistically, what's happening in improv and what's happening with us when we're playing music is that, well, there are kind of two ways of if I was to translate what's happening in our minds into English, there's a good way of responding to error or novelty, and there's a bad way. Now, the bad way is often when in your world, right, when you have a conversation, was when let's imagine. I'll pick Amy because I know Amy. Let's imagine, Amy, you said to me, I've got this idea that's going to change the world, and it's so amazing, but it's a little bit crazy. And now, if I responded badly to that, which wouldn't happen in jazz, I would start my response with the two words, yes, but, okay? And if you get a yes, but from me, even though your idea was about to change the world, you'd be a little bit despondent, a little bit annoyed. You'd probably just think, oh, forget it, let's I don't want to share this idea with you. Because yes, but it blocks whatever you were going to say. It destroys it. And the jazz alternative, this is the way we speak, would be to respond beginning with the two words yes and. Okay, and I'm sure many of you have heard this in an improv kind of context before, but I want to dig into this a bit more deeply and how it works with jazz. So Amy, if I said to you yes and to your super crazy idea, even though at the back of my head I'm thinking that sounds completely bonkers, yes and is my way of practicing not judging. It's my way of saying, I hear you. For now, I'm going to accept this idea and I want to build on it. It's as simple as that. Okay. And I always ask people, I'll ask you, are you a yes and person or are you a yes but person naturally in life? All of you. And what kind of organization do you work for? Is it a yes and organization or a yes but organization? And I think if you're mindful of the words that come out of your mouths and the people around you, you can practice ways of making this better. And part of the research I'm doing at the moment, which will end up in a book, I think next year, maybe an academic paper, is to say what difference does this stuff make, in reality in organizations. So I think we're going to play a piece of music now, and I'm going to demonstrate the yes and to you, and then we're going to do an interactive quick breakout in 5 minutes where you all get the chance to feel what you're about to experience through the music. This is so exciting. Now, what's going to happen here is I need a volunteer, and to be eligible for this experiment with us, you've just got to have a pen and a piece of paper in front of you, because what I'm going to ask you to do is write down on your piece of paper our three names, Ollie, Alex and Mike. And while we're playing this next piece of music, all you have to do is hold up a piece of paper to tell us who you want to go wrong. So you can make any of us go wrong, okay? And this is a serious bit of disruption while we're playing. Is that okay? So, and what's going to happen is, now why is Doreen here? We can't always keep our eye on the screen. So Doreen will keep an eye on the screen. And as soon as she sees whoever you are, that our volunteer, prompt us with a name, you're telling us to go wrong, Doreen will what are you going to do, Doreen? She's got this thing here. She's going to whack us across the head or something somewhere, so we know it's our time to go wrong. Okay. So Doreen, do you go to Keep Fit classes?
Yeah.
She does. You see. So Doreen is very well. She's all trim and she's ready for this. Okay. She'll be bouncing around the room. So who's my volunteer with a piece of paper and a pen? Oh, Hugh's done it already. Okay, that's great. That's great. So, Hugh, you just need to have three separate bits of paper. One that says Alex, one that says Ollie, and one that says Mike. And that will be great. I think, I'm just trying to... Will you be able to see Hugh when he gives us his thing?
I'll stand there.
Unless I can actually... Let me just see if I can...
No, I can stand.
Let me see if I pin my... Oh yeah, look, I've made Hugh very big now. So I'd just like you to watch. We're going to play, guys. I'd like to play Sea Jam Blues. Okay, it's a Duke Ellington song. So Hugh, you can make any musician go wrong at any time you like. And if you make, let's imagine you make Mike go wrong, and you think, oh God, that was so crazy. You can make him go wrong again. You can make people go wrong as many times as you like. And for everybody watching, we're having the ultimate yes and conversation, driven by Hugh and facilitated by Doreen, the disruptor, at this end. What a team. Okay, let's see if this works. This is another world premiere. And Hugh, you can unmute if you want for a moment so you can actually talk to me.
Yeah, that would be great. Ollie, Mike, and Alex, right?
That's it. So you can decide who you want to disrupt at any time.
Okay.
Okay, and just watch out for the bouncing, sprinting form of Doreen as she, doing her ballet-like moves. Okay. So to give us a test, Hugh, just hold something up to the screen. We'll see if we can see it. Oh, is that your nice piano behind you there? I can see it now.
It is, with a lot of paper on it, to my embarrassment.
Can I see one of your bits of paper? Okay, that's good. So that's it. That's good. Right, we're going to play a quick song, and I want you to see how we respond to disruption and error in a yes and way. Let's do it. So it's go wrong when to go.
I thought you were going to make me big.
You are big, Hugh. When you speak, then we can see you.
Okay.
You. What have you done to us? That was beautiful.
Yes, it was quite difficult to get you to stop.
I didn't give you any instructions for that, did I?
No.
So thank you for that. Can I just check? I had to do a risk assessment for that. Are you guys all right? They're okay. So Doreen, you can take a bow because your work is done. You were brilliant.
Okay.
I couldn't see how athletic Doreen was. Do you want to stand up and just wave? You can stay if you wish, but
No, I've got
if you've got to bake some cakes and things, you know, that's all right, isn't it? So, so thank you to Doreen. Doreen the disruptor. She during the pandemic, Doreen helped me out a lot, and she was referred to all across the world as Wonder Woman. So thank you, Wonder Woman. Thank you for that.
Bye.
She's off. Right, so let me just continue. Thank you, Dory.
Bye.
What I'd like to do is, in a moment, is throw you in a breakout room for 5 minutes, I want you to see what it feels like to have a conversation which is only around yes and you may have done this before, but this will be slightly different. And I want to give you a challenge as well for your next meeting with anybody. It could be a family meeting, it could be a work meeting. I've invented a thing called the yes but swear box. Let me just mute. I'm going to mute you. Oh, actually, Hugh, can you mute yourself because I can hear you now because I left you off the microphone. This thing I've invented, it's the yes but swear box. So when you have your next meeting, you say to people, for the duration of this conversation, while we look at the agenda, you are not allowed to say yes but. Now, when you do that, it's kind of interesting because people find it quite difficult. And so the yes but swear box means that you'll get fined every time you say yes but in the meeting. You've got to put in, let's say 10 euros. Let's go to euros, okay, for the currency. So in the conversation, people start discussing the item on the agenda, and they make mistakes, and they're losing 10 euros every time. Then they try to cheat. I've seen this before, and people say other things that mean yes but, and they say things like with respect. And that's just as bad, isn't it? It means like, I really hate your idea, and I charge them 20 euros for that. And then they say things like, with the greatest respect, and I charge them 30 euros for that, and so on. They try to cheat. And so what's interesting is that as people try this idea in their meeting, first of all, they're making a lot of money, which you can give to your local charity. But secondly, people actually then realize how often they're saying yes but. So my challenge to you is to try this out and try to explicitly have yes and conversations for the next 7 days, okay? And then I want you to tell me about it. Find me on LinkedIn and say, this is the difference it made by consciously, having yes and conversations. But but before we do anything else, let's just try it. What I want you to do for 5 minutes, I'm going to put you into a random room, a breakout room, with a stranger. It could be a stranger. And I want one of you to begin a conversation. This is improvised, right? With the phrase, wouldn't it be great if? And the topic of the conversation is something that you could do to make the world a better place. Okay, that's a nice bit. It's a big agenda. What might you do to make the world a better place? Or it might be to do with how could you two work together, because you might be strangers working in completely different organizations. What could you do together to fuse your organizations to make the world a better place? You've only got 5 minutes for this breakout session. We'll have it, whoever's doing the breakout, make it all in pairs, but if there's an odd number, we can have a group of 3. And the first person I want you to make the ideas a little bit crazy, absolutely brilliant, but a little bit crazy. So wouldn't it be great if we could do this, okay? And blah, blah, blah. And then the other person could say yes, and, wouldn't it be great if? So let's just see where the ideas go and what could possibly happen in 5 minutes. But what I'm mostly interested in 5 minutes time is to ask you, how does it feel to be in this improvised conversation? Is that okay? That's my challenge to you. So let's save the world, make the world a better place. Wouldn't it be great if? Yes, and. Remember, the yes but swear box is right in front of you, and don't be naughty and use bad language. Oh, this is great. I can see people now. Now, everyone, as you're coming back, leave your cameras on. I'd like to see your faces. This is very nice. What a novelty. And we've got a naked man there as well. That's good. Don't move your camera south. It's okay. Right, so welcome back. I think everyone is back. Now, I invite you to unmute and keep your cameras on, because I want to know what happened in those 5 minutes. And the two things are, how did it feel? And also, what did you discuss? Would anyone like to volunteer? We'll just have a few minutes of feedback. If anyone wants to use the chat box, that's okay as well, remembering what it's like to use Zoom. But I'd like to hear from someone in reality. So if anyone wants to unmute and just wave to me and then start talking, I'd love to hear. What did it feel like? And when I say what did it feel like, your answer might be, that was bloody difficult, or it might be, that was amazing. It could be, on the spectrum. There's a big difference there. Any particular thoughts? Would anyone like to share with me how did it feel to do that?
We can
Amy,
go,
hi,
Alex,
Amy.
if you like. Hi, Alex. Lovely to see you again.
And you.
I was with Karen, and I think well, I mean, I speak from my perspective, it was a bit awkward at first. There was this moment of, the idea came out and it was like, yes, and but I have to say, once we got into the flow of it, then our ideas started snowballing to the point that in the end, we were actually at quite a realistic idea of something simple and small we could do to make the world a better place. So it flowed quite nicely after our awkward start.
Okay, that's really good to know. So, and that's not untypical. I think people at first maybe find it's difficult, but then the flow comes. It's a different way of having a conversation. So thank you for that, Amy. That's good. Anyone else? Did anyone feel? What did it feel like for someone else? Who would like to tell me? Yeah. Hi, Alistair.
Hi. I think Bren and I were once we got started, I think a similar pattern to what Amy described. I could feel the energy. I could feel the excitement in the background, if you like, in a way that is unusual in a professional conversation, if you like. So I could feel the childish excitement of, well, why can't we? Bloody hell. So the childlike came into play, which was something I noticed.
Brilliant. Okay. Again, I was saying I'm doing research in this area, and typically people talk about energy a lot when participating, and practicing this way of being. It's an openness and it's a curiosity, and it's an energizing way of having the conversation. So that's really interesting. I'll take one more comment if anyone else wants to say anything about that. If not, what I'd like to say is, I encourage you to practice this idea. Physically make the yes but swear box and put it on the table, and it might enhance your relationships at work, or it might enhance your relationships with your partners or your parents or your children or your mates. It's just a way of listening in a way which doesn't judge. So that's my challenge to you. And the ultimate challenge is, if you can do it for 7 days in different ways, then find me and say what happened after 7 days. Because I think all these things, you can't just kind of switch it on and do it easily. It's like playing music. I mean, you need practice, don't you? So what I'd like to do at this stage is share a few slides with you on the screen, and I want to talk to you about the next experiment, where I'm going to build a lot more deeply on this concept of yes and, but go to another place as well. So it's just a few slides. There you go. Can you see that slide? Okay, so in this experiment, I want to talk about, we're talking about improvisation, but I haven't really said how do you do it apart from yes and. So I want to talk to you about 3 things here. Firstly, an idea which is called the beginner's mind, which is something that we do in jazz. I'll explain in a moment. I want to introduce you to an improvisational model, which I think is really, really useful. It helps us act in a certain way, sense the world in a different way. It's about enabling us to be curious, to explore, and to experiment. And also, because I'm talking about brains, this does link as well to some research that Professor Dan Cable has been involved with at London Business School, and I've worked with him a lot recently. And they're talking about how do you activate the seeking systems inside someone's brain. This is the region of the brain between the prefrontal cortex and your ventral striatum, and it's associated with the release of dopamine and this kind of propensity to want to explore and to experiment. So all of these things, the how do you activate the seeking system? I'm going to tell you. This is what's going to happen. So one of the key things that we do in jazz is we try to let go of our expertise and see the world as a beginner. It's a kind of fresh, curious way of being alive at all moments. And I like this phrase that in the mind of the expert, there are few possibilities. In the mind of the beginner, there are many. And that, I think, is really profound. I think it's also a Japanese Buddhist bit of advice for you there as well. And certainly the way we approach playing music as jazz musicians is always to never think of ourselves as experts, always to think of ourselves as curious, learning beings. And having the beginner's mind is really an important part of that. Then I wanted to share with you a really simple model. It's not an academic model, it's just a practitioner model, which is actually I've taken from the work of Robert Poynton. He's a great guy, author, not an academic, but a very practical improvisational dude. And this is his model, which I'm going to share with you, which is simple. It's got three parts of the mantra: let go, use everything, notice more. And I just want to explore what that means, because when I heard this model, I spoke to Robert about it. I thought, this is so cool. This is what we're doing in jazz. This is what we need to do in life. So here's the let go bit. What you can ask yourself: what do I need to let go of to make my life better, or to make the world a better place? So here are some examples. Letting go of judging too soon. We just discussed in the last experiment. In improvisation, letting go of having to be right, letting go of trying to be clever, letting go of our expertise, letting go of the need to be in control, and trusting that others, will step up. Particularly with beginner's mind, letting go of habits, routines, being in autopilot. We're all guilty of that. Structure, we love to let go of structure. And also the improvisational way of being is to be changed by what you hear, not just to keep it at a distance, but as this stuff is happening, be changed by what you hear. So ask yourself, what do I need to let go of? Use everything is beautiful as well. Mistakes and accidents, they happen, like with Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis. Use what's there, and what is there is all that you've got. Everything that happens in a conversation is an offer. In a musical conversation, all the notes that come, they're offers. That's all you've got to work with, so you use it. Then you connect all these ideas. Again, you're willing to be changed, and it's a yes and kind of way of being. So using everything is number 2. Then lastly, and I love this, maybe the most, noticing more. So it's about being fully present. It's about being in the moment. It's leaning into all of your senses, listening, seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, everything's going on. Being deeply curious and asking really good questions. And this one I particularly like, because I sometimes do this mindful walking practice where you walk along a stretch of somewhere where you've walked 1,000 times before, and you ask yourself, what do I notice? What is beautiful? What am I drawn towards? And suddenly you see a lot of things that you've never seen before. And that's our kind of awareness inside the music, noticing everything that's happening. And one quick story for you before we do a completely mad experiment musically, which I've never done before. I'm just going to put that out there. But this is a story going back to 1975 of Keith Jarrett. And he rocked up at the Opera House in Cologne. And he was due to play a concert there. He was quite young. He was 29 years old. Very famous, even in those days, for playing fully improvised solo piano performances. He'd turn up at the Opera House. He would start to play just whatever came to him, no structure. And on the particular day that he was due to play, on the 24th of January 1975, when he arrived, the piano he'd asked for, this beautiful Bösendorfer concert grand piano, wasn't there. He said, "Where's my piano?" And they'd made a mistake, and they said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, the piano isn't here. But we've got this really nice little, baby grand piano." And Keith Jarrett said, "That baby grand is not going to be good enough to fill up the Opera House. I'm playing a solo piano." He said, "Let me try it just in case." So it was worse than he thought, because the sustain pedal wasn't working. It was out of tune, and there were several notes that weren't working. So he said, "I'm off. I'm out of here. I'm not doing the gig." Anyway, it's a very famous story, this. The very young promoter of the gig was called Vera Brandes. So she was only a teenager, I think 17 or 18 years old at the time. And it was one of her first big concerts, and she's still famous today. And I've just heard they're about to make a film of this story, by the way, which look out for this. And anyway, Vera said, "Oh, come on, Keith, could as a favor to me, this is my first big gig. Would you do the concert?" So he kind of, I guess he must have thought in a yes and way, well, maybe I should do this. But he was reluctant to have it recorded. So he said to ECM Records, to Manfred Eicher, "Listen, whatever you do, I'm going to do this as a favor to young Vera Brandes, but don't record it. It's going to be a nightmare." He said, "The piano's out of tune, there's faulty notes, blah, blah, blah." Anyway, you'll be pleased to know that Manfred ignored Keith's request and recorded it anyway, just in case. And what happened was, in this concert, all the things we were talking about, you work with what's working. So clearly Keith Jarrett had to play parts of the piano that he'd never normally go to. Particular areas sounded good, particular areas sounded bad. It was a really quiet piano, so he had to really kind of pound and change his posture, pounding the keys. And so he played in a way he'd never played before. And fortunately, this was recorded, and you might know this album, the Cologne Concert, and it's one to this day. It's still the best-selling solo piano jazz album in history. All right, and I mean, so wow. So this was Keith Jarrett, using everything, letting go, use everything, noticing more, beginner's mind, yes, and it was all happening. So let me just stop sharing for a moment, and I'll tell you what we're going to do. Right, I'm back. What a great story that is. I would like to challenge myself and my colleagues to do a Keith Jarrett kind of thing, right? Where we are now. I don't really want to break my piano, so what I thought, I'm going to do two things here. This is going to be so crazy. First of all, to emulate this idea of the unplayable piano, and see, the unplayable piano was playable, wasn't it? I want to ask you, what are the unplayable pianos in your lives? And because they're not really unplayable if you approach it with a jazz way of thinking. So to limit us, to break us at the outset, I'm going to ask any one of you, you can do it in the chat box if you like, to give us 4 random notes. Okay, so we're going to compose a piece limited or inspired by 4 random notes. That's the first challenge. Actually, let's take that first, and I'll tell you what the second part of the challenge is to us, because we're going to use those 4 notes in a very special way. So let me just look at the chat box, see what we've got. By the way, notes, musical notes. Do you know what musical notes are? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, sharps and flats. Can someone type into the chat box some random notes? Because whatever comes. Philip has given me an F sharp. Oh, thank you for that. That's great. What's our next note? Amy's given me a C. We love a C. I'm still looking. I want 4 notes. Alistair, thank you for that. Beautiful E. And we want one more. Have I got another one? E flat. Oh, Christoph. Yeah, come on. E flat. Right, those are our 4 notes. Now, I didn't know what you were going to give us, so we're going to use those notes. But I'm going to use them in a special way, because what I want to do is ask one of you to volunteer to be the subject of a musical portrait. What is a musical portrait? Okay. This is where one of you, we're going to put your face, we'll pin you on the screen so we can just see you. We, using only those 4 notes, will paint a beautiful picture of you, made up of notes, melody, harmony, and rhythm. Okay? Now this is a gift to one of you. Whoever wants to volunteer for this, you may have never experienced this before. So we're going to try to do this Keith Jarrett thing and paint a fully improvised picture of you, inspired initially based upon those 4 notes. Is that okay? So we are kind of, all you've got to do, if you choose to be the subject for this, I suppose you're going to sit there, you're going to feel like a beginner, because we've never done this before. Being a beginner is also feeling a little bit vulnerable, so there might be some vulnerability because we're still looking at you, okay? And you just have to trust that something beautiful is going to unfold. You yourself, the volunteer, need to let go. You need to notice more, maybe about yourself. Be present, be curious, and use everything that happens in this moment. For us, the musicians, we've got to feel like beginners. We don't know what's going to happen. We need to activate these seeking systems in our brains to be curious and to explore your face. And we need to deeply sense you. And again, we're going to let go, use everything, and notice more. So who is the brave person who's going to step forward? And when we do this, maybe I'll ask... I think all we have to do is pin, or if everyone turns their camera off, we'll just, I don't know what's the best thing to do, but I'll pin whoever it is so I can see. Rick, what's the best thing to do? You were waving there.
I can pin someone to make them.
Oh, you can pin it.
Appear for
It
everyone.
won't be painful. We're going to pin your face to the screen. So I can see all of you beautiful people here now. So who would like their musical portrait live in front of everybody based upon 4 notes? Now, as we explore this idea of beginner's mind, letting go, using everything, and noticing more. Who is the person that will be the subject of our musical portrait? Now, this is a yes and opportunity you've never had before. And who's it going to be? I don't want to choose someone. I want you to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to be the subject of this portrait. But I should say it's being recorded, so this is like a beautiful thing. It could, you might want to keep this thing forever. Come on, I need one of you to step forward.
I'm happy to if you don't mind me being shirtless.
Oh, not at all. Okay, so I see. So sorry, Mo, you put your hand up at the same time, but Milo was in there first. So we're going to pin your face, Milo. You've got a good face. I like your face. So we're going to do a musical portrait of you. Let me just move that to one side. Right, are you ready for this? So using F sharp, C, E, and E flat, we're going to paint you. You ready? Are you okay with those notes? Yeah. Let's look at that face. Right, let's get the notes. F sharp, C. Oh, that's good. Then E. Then E flat. I like it. Okay, got your face. Okay. That's a great face.
Wow, thank you very much. That was beautiful.
Milo, that's good. You've got a good face for a painting.
Not saying about me, you guys did that. That was great. Thank you very much.
Where are you in the world, Milo, where it's so sunny?
I'm in Italy.
Is that in Italy?
Yeah.
Which part of Italy are you in?
An island called Elba. It's on the halfway up on the west, off the west coast. Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you're there. That's good. So thank you for that. So what was interesting? Can we unpin everything now so I can see everyone's faces? So but first of all, Milo. So tell me, Milo, how did it feel for you?
Kind of weird. I guess as it was happening, I was thinking I would have enjoyed to look at someone else's face and try and follow the lines with the music. So but I didn't want to look at myself, so I guess I was just looking, trying to understand the different parts and the kind of ebbs and flows, and thinking maybe where that might be, but more just enjoying the sound of it rather than overthinking it, I guess.
Yes, yeah. And okay, that's interesting. I don't know if anyone has any comments about that, about what just happened. I mean, I should just say, well, you might have some comments as well. You can ask us some questions as well now if you like. But
yeah, I mean, where did you start? Do you feel like you started from the top down, or was there like, I don't know, I have no idea what the process is for this. So I'd be very interested to know.
Well, I'm not sure it's anything you may have even done before.
Yeah.
I've done it as a solo piano player before with people's faces, and it's a different experience. But with the three of us all trying to focus on you and use those four notes well, I thought it was beautiful. There's something about having a constraint and creativity. Like, didn't Picasso used to just paint with the color blue, for example? So if you give us just those four notes as our structure, and then we're looking at you, it's an interesting way of, I don't know, recreating us sensing you. So I don't think I started at the top or anything. I personally was just sensing your whole. I mean, you're quite well framed there with the trees behind you anyway. So there was just a kind of an essence of Milo, which I thought was easy to feel. So what did anyone else think about that?
Alex, I mean, I had exactly that reaction as I was listening. I was looking at Milo and the relatively strong limited palette of colors kind of matched the strong limited palette of notes.
Yes.
And it's really, you know, I had a kind of Rothko thing going on as I was listening. It was the power of limiting the palette, and we find that in our work. If you want amazing things to happen, often, you know, having quite a tight container helps.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for that, Chris. And Philippa said, did we deliberately do something different every time?
I think Kay is trying to say something, but it's not very loud, Kay. So could you speak up for us?
I was just making a minor comment that I drifted off into mint cocktails, gently sort of swaying through the breezes behind Milo. So it was lovely, Alex. Really, really.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful thing, and so thank you for that. And yes, so Philippa, you said, did we do something different every time that Milo moved his face? And I guess, well, yes, we did, because every kind of micro movements on your face moves the music to a different place. So yeah, I just think it's an interesting art form, isn't it, to be able to do musical portraits? And I've done them through the screen, and I've done them face to face, and it's just the beginning of something different. I think we're experimenting with there, but it's an interesting experience for how you sense another human being, and really tuning into them. Were there any other comments about that? Otherwise, I mean, all I would say is, Moy.
Yeah, I just want to say it felt actually a lot more intimate than I expected, and I'm just wondering what that was like for Milo as you were hearing some of the sounds. Because I put my hand up as well, just try and do something a bit courageous. But I was quite surprised at how I was hearing the sound and thought I'd be concentrating on the sound and the faces, but actually I started gazing at the physicality of the shape of the sound and hands. I think it was Mike's hand. Is it Mike on the bass?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed myself noticing the physical movements and the bounce of the saxophone as well. And as I was noticing that, and I guess this is why I'm just intrigued about how it felt for Milo as well, the breathing, I noticed, because I think Milo, I noticed that you were quite still. I don't know how intentional that was because of the gaze, but I did notice I guess towards the end, maybe the last third bit, that your breathing started to shift underneath. I don't know if it's just something I looked a bit too closely at. But...
No, I don't think it was my breathing. I was just kind of bobbing along to the tune a bit. But I think you're right, Moy. I've lost her for a second.
I think Moy's frozen actually.
Yeah.
But she just got the question in time. So what were you saying about the breathing? You were breathing.
I don't think it was breathing. I think I was more kind of just trying to feel the flow of it. But I agree with what she said. It felt quite delicate. It didn't feel like it was just surface level. It felt like it was, not exposing in a way, but quite personal.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to look at myself, so I was looking at you guys. So I would be intrigued to watch it back and see how it looks from a viewer's perspective.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, fascinating. So yeah, it is a personal thing, I think, and so I've done this before, and sometimes people get quite emotional about it. So you managed to keep it together, Milo. That was good. So listen.
Well, I was just really enjoying the music.
Yeah, that was really good. So
I thought it was wonderfully serene. You had a serenity which I see in the setting that you're behind you, Milo.
Yeah,
there was a serenity in the music, which was a decision that seemed to me that the four of you created together. That serenity. The only thing that intrigued me was how did you determine which key you would use?
we had.
Did you cheat?
No, we just had the 4 notes we were given, and it was fairly fluid. We weren't in any particular key actually, because it was shifting, wasn't it, from like F sharp and G flat, and it was in C, then it was in E, it was E flat, so it was a weird kind of thing, but I liked it, So, just to summarize then, so thank you very much, Milo, for doing that, and that was your gift of the morning, and just to say to everybody, I would say to you, reflect on, what can you let go of at work or in life? It's a really good question to ask. Reflect on, if you were to use everything at your disposal, what might you use and what might happen as a result? Because there's stuff around us that we're not using. And if you were to notice more, what might you sense? What might you hear? What might you see? And what difference might it make? And how might you reflect on this? I mean, this could be journaling, it could be expressive writing, it could be a meditation, whatever is your thing. But or just think about it as you're going for a walk. So those are really, I think they're great questions, and I just love that model for its simplicity. And as I say, it really reflects what we're doing in jazz, and it's how the improviser engages with the world. So we've got time for one quick experiment, one last experiment. Okay, I'm looking at the time, and what I need for this experiment is three volunteers. Okay, and you've got to have a piece of paper and a pen to volunteer, and each of the 3 of you are going to control this last piece of music. I want to give you an insight into how we have this dynamic in the culture of jazz, being able to move effortlessly between leading and following. And so any one of us at any one time is happy to step forward and take control in our world, as is probably the case in your worlds. But we're also very happy to step back, to let go of control, and to trust that someone else will step forward. That's the normal culture. But I want the 3 of you to control, each of you will control one of us to make us, for your personal experiment of this dynamic between leading and following. So you need to have, let me have the 3 volunteers and then with pen and paper, then I'll tell you what you need to write on your piece of paper. So who are my 3 volunteers? And maybe it's best for just the volunteers to leave their cameras on. Okay, no, actually, no, Rick, can you spotlight again the three controllers? Okay, and us. All right. So can I have the volunteers, please? Just give me a wave, and I'll tell you what you need to do. Who's the first volunteer for the last song? You got to be quick because we're going to run out of time. Amy, yeah, Amy, who do you want to control?
I think Moy should get first or second dibs because
because you lost out on the last one. So first of all, Amy, would you like to control me, Mike, or Ollie?
I've always loved the saxophone, so I'm going to go with Ollie.
So I want you to write down on 3 bits of paper. Number 1, Ollie lead. Second one, Ollie follow. And thirdly, Ollie silent. Because you've just realised you can make him lead, follow, or tell him to shut up, right? Then Moy, who would you like to control? You can have either Mike or me.
Mike.
All right, so you need to write down 3 things. Mike lead, Mike follow, and Mike silent. And I need one more volunteer to control me, please. The gas man. Okay, no, the gas man can't do it. No, come on. So who we got? I need a volunteer. Come on, who's it going to be? With a bit of paper and a pen. Come on, can't let me down at this stage. The clock's ticking.
I would love to do it, but I don't have any paper, I'm afraid.
That's okay. Anyone else with a bit of paper? Is Hugh going to save the day again? Oh no, it's Bren. Bren's going to save the day. Okay, so Bren, you've got to write down Alex lead, Alex follow, and Alex silent. So the 3 of you are now going to create a beautiful piece of music by controlling us And let me remind you that you're not just controlling your own musician. You've got to sense the whole of the music. So there's got to be some dynamic between all of you. Is that okay? So any questions? All right. Okay. We can see you. This is beautiful. Let me just move that to the side. I'll move that down there. Right. Well, let's do a blues. We'll do a blues in F. How about that? Right. When you're ready, can you each of you hold up your initial instruction, and then we'll begin. And we'll see if we can see it. If you've got a bit of blurring on there, Amy. Oh, okay. It's okay. We've got a Mike follow. We've got Alex follow and Ollie Lee. Okay, we're going to play. Just watch this. We trust you, the three of you, and we're in your capable hands. We have to look at the screen and stuff. No head. We're just going to blur it all. No what? Are we doing a head? I know it's no head. Yeah. Just gonna do it. Right. F. Right. Can we hold up your instructions again? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, that was great. Thank you so much for that. I wasn't quite sure how we were supposed to end it, so I just thought I'd better just take control at the end. So while the three of you are here, if you can unmute, I want you to tell me what happened there. How did it feel to do that, and what did you learn from this experience? Any comments from Amy, Bren, or Moy? What did it feel like?
It felt like a bit of a responsibility.
It was.
I thought it was also great to collaborate with each other, and I think it was nice when you could see. So Moy was trying to give Mike a chance to lead. Then it was nice to be like, okay, we'll follow then and work together and support that decision, so that then Mike was showcased, and it was and vice versa for all of you. And I think it was quite nice, that collaboration and being aware of each other and what clearly there was an idea or a plan in place, and then being able to support that idea or plan.
Yeah, you were great. And so the three of you were really spontaneous. You know, you worked this out in the moment, didn't you? And we trusted you. We felt, we felt loved by you. We thought if we were on tour together, we could be like a sextet, couldn't we? And like, it'd be great. In the real world, we have to get a drummer as well in the real world. So anything else? Well, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's this culture of distributed leadership. So, what... Are we doing that in the organizations we work with? Does everybody have that ability to shine, to step forward? And I think to do that, you need kind of this idea of psychological safety, to have the confidence as well to step forward. Or is it our job as leaders to make sure we empower the people around us to have the confidence to do that? There's a lot of lessons in there. If we can,
Alex, today we didn't have, as far as I saw, the everybody leading at the same time, which sometimes you do get in this exercise, and we do see that happen in organizational life, where either everybody tries to lead or everybody tries to follow at the same time.
That's right. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I didn't mention that actually as part of the brief, because it was possible to try and make us all lead at the same time, but thank God I didn't mention that, otherwise you'd have done it. So does anybody else have a comment about what you just saw that's in the call here? Just a quick opportunity, and because we're going to finish in the next few minutes, because I'm going to pass it back over to Chris. Are there any other comments or questions to me or to all my jazz brothers, as I've called them now, in the room? I'm just going to open it up in terms of what we've been doing today, and whether that's a question about the jazz or the application of improvisational thinking to life. Any comments?
I was just thinking in terms of... Oh, sorry, Moy, you go first this time, please.
No, you go.
No,
We're in sync today.
You go.
I'm really wanting to hear what it sounds like for you all to try and lead together. I know we don't have time, but in the exercise, I did try to get Mike to lead the same time as, I think, Alex. And I think we were so collaborative that I think someone had sort of said follow. But yeah, I my feet are still tapping. That was fun, but yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what that sounds like, trying to lead at the same time.
We'll do that in part 2.
That's actually what I was thinking, Moy, is that it was interesting that you guys collaborated and kind of followed each other, which made it very smooth. But I wonder if the kind of brief would have been a bit more like contradictory, and you tried to kind of do the opposite of that, what effect that would have had, and if it would have been a bit incohesive, or if it would have just been like a bit more mad and a bit more unusual. I'm not sure. Yeah,
so I don't know what would have happened, but it would have been interesting. So, but I think we'll save that for part 2, which Chris and Philippa and colleagues and Rick I'm sure will organise. Well, I got to say, I haven't done one of these on screen for a long time, and obviously now that the pandemic is finished, by the way, we're out there doing this thing live, and it's similar to this what you've experienced today, I think, but the live one is even more special, I think, because you can reach out and touch the musicians. So I think I'm amazed that we can still do this, through the screen. But a face-to-face version, which I'm sure we can arrange at some stage, is a beautiful thing as well. Let me just summarise, because I've got about 2 minutes left before I pass back to Chris. First of all, can I say thank you to all of you for being here? I mean, I had no idea it was going to turn up this morning, and it's lovely to see all of you all over the world. And so thank you to you. And can I say thank you to these great guys? Give them a round of applause to Ollie and Mike. They're awesome. Listen to that silent applause. It's so good. You guys were great, really, really good. So thank you for being game, and thank us, of course, to Doreen as well. So what did we do in the last 90 minutes or a bit less? I was suggesting I was going to take you on a journey through our heads and our hearts, and we discussed a bit of neuroscience, a bit of psychology in there, and it's about leadership and it's about innovation, it's about flow. It's all happening there. So I just think we just touched the tip of the iceberg, and that's why I'm doing this research at the moment, and that's why I'm really excited to explore this in writing over the coming months. If any of you have got any particular thoughts or reflections that you haven't shared with me that you would like to share with me, please find me on LinkedIn and have a chat with me, and you might even be part of my research, which would be lovely. Of course, thanks to GameShift. I am a partner with GameShift, and GameShift is awesome. It's an awesome collective of like super incredible people. So I'm very honoured to be part of that group of people, and so it's been a delight. And what did we do? We did 4 experiments. We did the number 1. We played Let It Be. Yeah, Let It Be. Then we did the Yes and thing with Doreen, and we had conversations, and we played the lot of wrong notes. Then we did the brilliant thing with Milo's face and 4 notes. And then we had the final thing with the 3 controllers. So what a morning it's been. I encourage you to do the Yes and 7-day challenge if you can do that. I really want to hear from you. What's it like to do Yes and conversations for 7 days? And that's all I want to say. So thank you very much to all of you. And I'm going to pass over to Chris right on time.
Alex, thank you. All of us, please, let's give the team a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's always terrific, Alex, to work with you. I'm really, really grateful that you were able to do it this morning. So thanks a lot. There may well be a part 2. I look forward to that. Yeah, as I said to everybody, we will make sure that we write to you all with a link to this recording. We'll write our own reflections as a blog and send them out to you. Feel free to join in that reflecting. So when you get our note, join in. The reflection could be a bit of improvisation as well. So we'll write it in that way. Our next one of these is in September, on September the 7th. Some of you may know Dr. Eve Poole. She was faculty at Ashridge, and she's a prolific author. Her new book is coming out right at the end of August. It's about artificial intelligence and how humanity and artificial intelligence meet up. So Eve's book is Robot Souls, Programming in Humanity. And she's going to be with us September the 7th to talk about all this AI stuff and why we should be interested and what we can do about it. So I hope some of you will come along to that one. Meanwhile, I'm going to go off and practice some yes and being in the moment. So see how my morning goes. Thank you very much for setting me off on that, Alex. And have a brilliant day, everybody, and a brilliant summer. Thank you for coming. We'll be in touch.
Can we unmute and applaud?
Yes,
unmute. Yes, let's do it. Let's hear the sound of it. I mean, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Unmute. Unmute.
Unmute.
Okay. Chris, before you go, if we've got 2 minutes before 10 o'clock, we'll play you a quick song to go away with if you like.
2-minute song to go away with. We will end at
Let's do
10.
It. Okay, yep. We're going to do it. What we do? St. Thomas. Let's do it. Can't resist it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That's the quickest song we ever
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.
Thanks all.
Have a great day. Bye bye.